slide the other way over to the center, and or patch the cable in the other way or anything. Yeah, that's fine. And then just get that one ready for a single shot, and then I'll see what I can do to figure out what's going on.
Does that look good?
Yeah, let's go good. Maybe go back.
I don't know. We might just keep it wide. I don't know what it is. Is that what it is? Okay. Right. I wonder. You think that?
And good evening, everybody. This is the NJCAA National Basketball Tournament post-game show. Day 3 of the national tournament is finished. Hi, everybody. I'm Zook, Glen Grunwald alongside. Wow, Glenn, what an exciting third day, including one of the most bizarre and biggest upsets we've seen so far in this early part of the tournament, with Motlow State coming away with a win over Georgia Highlands. We'll get to that in just a moment. First things first, start off with a great crowd as Hutchinson Community
I'm going to tell you, you don't want to get this
at the national tournament earlier this afternoon, a 12 noon start against a pretty good St. Petersburg team.
Oh, a real good St. Petersburg team. Matter of fact, you can see some of the highlights taking place. The big start by Nick Sketchich is he came in and knocked in 12 points, and he really kept Hutchinson in it for quite some time. Hutch trailed by 3 at halftime and then kicked it to gear in the second half. Secured Houston with a great game.
Well, and he did. 29 points for the sophomore, Samaji Haynes-Jones, the future Wichita State guard, also coming away with a big game, 26 points. You know, Glenn, they started off and just got a little bit disjointed, especially there with about 10 minutes to go in the first half, and that let St. Petersburg really get out to a pretty good lead. But in the second half, it was a different story, and by the 10-minute mark, it looked like the Dragons were kind of starting to get some control.
Well, they really did, and the control, you're exactly right. Secured Houston just flat took over the basketball game, and he had a great game. And look at the scoring. Secured Houston with 34 minutes. He also chipped in 29 total points, had another double-double. He also had rebound totals of 12. He got it done. And Samaji Haynes-Jones, you mentioned him already. He played great. J.J. Rhymes in the late part of the game really stepped it up, and it was a nice win by the home crowd favorite, and a great crowd, by the way, that came out for this one. This place was rocking, as we know it can.
Yeah, indeed it was. And, of course, their next round opponent is Odessa, who came away with an 83-76 win against a Gillette team that had the lead with a minute to play and could not hang on to it.
Less than a minute, Gillette saw it slip away from them, and that game came right down the wire. I think inside the 33 seconds, Gillette had a 1-point lead, 33.1 to be exact, and all of a sudden it just slipped away. And Gillette, nothing to hang their head over. They won a game the day before against a good Walter State team, and then they were able to were eliminated by Odessa. So now it's going to be Odessa and Hutchinson, and that'll be the 6 o'clock game happening tomorrow night. We'll run down all those games that'll be taking place tomorrow night.
Yeah, Kawan Johnson coming off the bench for Odessa. He scores 17 points in that winning effort this afternoon. Then came, well, the game so far of the tournament. Motlow State, a team that had scrimmaged Georgia Highlands early in the before the season started, and Georgia Highlands beat them by 43 points. It was not going to be that way this time around. Motlow State in a wild finish where both teams had chances to put the game away, win it or lose it, and finally Motlow State. Isaiah 69 victory. Glenn, that game was wild.
Well, it really was. I was keeping score, but with 3:11 remaining, 65-64 was the lead, and actually Georgia Heights had the lead on that one, and all of a sudden it was 66-65 with about 2:20 to go. Then it came back and forth, and free throws were a big key. Some free throws, clutch free throw shooting that were made, clutch free throw shooting that were missed.
Well, indeed. And, of course, Motlow had about a 15-point lead in that ball game. Highlands came on with a full-court press, resulted in 27 turnovers. You forced 27 turnovers. You think you're going to win a ball game. You've got a pretty good chance. It was not to be, and a shot from half-court that J.T. Burton told me after I interviewed him at halftime of the previous game, that he was about 99.99% sure it was going in. He said he turned his back when the guy let it go. He was sure it was going in, but it didn't.
That final score by 1 point win, 70-69. And like you said, it was a half-court heave that just about dropped, but it did not go. And so there you go, Georgia Highland eliminated. They're the number 3 seed, so now you got the Cinderella team in Motlow State that came into this tournament, the number 14 seed, and they will match up against a pretty doggone good Eastern Florida team, the team that won this league game tonight.
Well, and they did. They beat Monroe. Monroe, who had a nice first-round victory. It didn't happen tonight as Eastern Florida really got the running game going. They've got a good inside-out game. They passed the ball very well. They defended well, and most of all tonight, where yesterday or during the first game, Monroe rebounded so well. They just didn't get that tonight.
Not the case in Eastern Florida. For Eastern Florida, here comes Monroe. And they just added to it that came out, and it was 1 point in the ball game late in the contest with all of a sudden, boom, they took off and scored about 6 straight, got in transition, they put it away, they come away with a big victory tonight. So that kind of sets the stage for tomorrow. Thursday noon game is going to be San Jacinto versus Northwest Florida State. Wow, is that going to be something? San Jacinto doing away with their program next year, going to have just baseball and softball. They got a little chippiness going on. They're 33-1. They're seeded number 1. They want to show it how it's done against former champion Northwest Florida State.
Well, Northwest Florida State certainly has the ability to take it to them, but the one thing I think we have both been very impressed with, and we've talked about it quite a bit, is San Jack's ability to get up and down the floor. They have good size. Their big people move well without the ball. They pass the ball well, and they've got guys, and you look at them on the floor, they're about 6'3", 6'4", 6'2", and you don't think much about it until they get about half their arm over the rim and dunk it home. Stuff went in your face, and then you opened your eyes a little bit.
Let's talk about sharpshooters now. South Plains, seeded number 2, the 2 o'clock game versus Vincennes. This is like 2 blue bloods again going at it. Vincennes comes in the 7th seed at 32-2. That's going to be a war as well.
Well, Todd Franklin's going to have his team ready to play. They struggled a little bit down the stretch last night, like things get a little bit closer maybe than what they wanted to. But he's going to have those kids ready to play. It's a typical Vincennes team, good guards, a big guy inside that can get rebounds and be intimidating, and it's a Todd Franklin team, and they'll play hard.
The evening session is going to be full. Hutchinson, the hometown team, 32-2, got the big win today to open up. They hadn't played in about a week, actually, and they're going to take on Odessa at 28. Actually, it's been 2 weeks since they played. They're going to take on Odessa. They got the big win. They're at 28-5. That's going to be a good matchup.
They're all going to be good matchups from now on. But, yeah, I think one thing for Hutchinson, just come out and play a little more, settle down, play a little more together, I think. That was the key. And talking with the coaching staff before the game, he said this really is going to be easy if we can do this right. Play defense, share the ball. And I think that's probably going to be a big key.
And the late game tomorrow night, Motlow State out of Tennessee, Lynchburg, Tennessee, the home of Jack Daniels. They take on Eastern Florida State. Eastern Florida State came in. They were 11th ranked in the season. They're the number 5 seed. And they're one of the at-large team, Motlow, 14th seed. Like I said, kind of the Cinderella, nothing to lose. That's the 8 o'clock ball game. We have 4 great ball games tomorrow.
Yeah, I think Motlow's almost like Jones about 4 years ago when they just pulled off upset after upset after upset. They had those overtime games, and they came away and they knocked off that great Indian Hills team 4 years ago that looked like it was pretty much unstoppable. So anything is possible, and it's going to be a great day tomorrow.
It really will. And they'll all start off straight up at 12 noon tomorrow. That's going to wrap up the wrap-up.
Yeah, we appreciate you joining us here on NJCAA TV. Join us tomorrow. We'll be on the air about 10 minutes before noon with another great day of basketball from the 70th NJCAA National Basketball Tournament. Good night, everybody.